All right. So, hi, folks. It's that time of the month again where we're nearing the end of one month and moving on to the next month, and it's show and tell for us. So, we're going to put our money where our mouth is and show you what we've done so far. And I'm really proud of the progress we've made. So, stick around, hang out with us, and enjoy the show.
Bada bing, bada boom.
This is CAP², we don't miss days. Two small businesses, big hallway praise. You keep me honest, I keep you brave. We check in weekly, so we don't care. Soaring Panther, Midnight Mosaic. Side by side, we're gonna make it. This is CAP², turn it up.
Hey, buddy, what's up, dude? What did you get into over the last week?
Uh, Let me think here, buddy. I don't really remember what I did this past week because it's kind of been a blur. I remember funeral was on Friday. The earnment was Monday. I think I worked a couple days out of the week. I really don't remember. I've been kind of avoiding going to work.
But you've done
Uh,
studio work.
did do studio work. We definitely got some of that done. I spent more of my time doing that than I did going to actual work because I'm ready to be done with work.
Well, one day
But
this is supposed to be your job anyway.
yes, it just doesn't pay the bills yet. I'm
I
getting
know.
there. I'm getting there. So, but uh overall, I slept well, I guess. Like I slept. I did a lot of sleeping.
It's
A
par
lot
for
of
the
sleeping, a
course.
lot of getting on here with our buddy Alex and like testing the QA stuff to make sure that there's no bugs and stuff. So we've gotten a lot of ETC progress done ahead
S-
of schedule.
Speaking of
But
which, he will not be joining us today, correct?
no, yeah,
No.
he won't be with us this week, so he will join us at the end of next month's show and tell.
Yep.
Because I got to figure out a schedule that works to get him in with us. So, but overall, got some decent sleep, got some work on ETC done. Didn't really go to work. I think I worked like 2 days out of the week last week. Um, I have airport duties Friday and Sunday this upcoming week. But other than that, it's been productive on the studio side of things. So,
It
how about
sounds it.
yourself, man? How was your week?
Uh, where to start, dude? I think it's pretty straightforward. I feel very productive at work. Um, Personally celebrated my birthday on Friday, very low key like. I went and played some disc golf with the family. Um,
Well,
for
happy related. I
it,
wasn't paying attention,
oh
so
no, you're fine. We played disc golf. It was me and my daughter's boyfriend. We played while they walked the trails and stuff over by the dam there in
gotcha.
Franklin. So
What is
we
disc golf?
so it's basically you take a frisbee that's not to frisbee standard. It'll make sense if you ever hold one. They actually, some of them come in forms of like your driver, your putter frisbee, so they are very relative to golf in a way. And the
Okay,
idea that there's usually a basket you're aiming for, and you got to do it usually over like the same drive of a course, you know what I mean? So you're
golf
doing over,
course.
yeah, you're
Okay,
doing it
so
like over 200 yards, but this one at the Franklin Dam, dude, it is so tricky. I actually would, if I was rating it, it would be an expert level because the level of coverage of trees that you have to make that frisbee go through is insane. And it takes precision. It is not, I mean, it's not, some of it's newbie friendly, but some of it gets really expert, like some of the holes do. It's a whole different beast in golf. But I did, so celebrated my birthday that way. Saturday, I think I don't recall what I did Saturday.
see, that's
Um,
kind of how it went for me.
yeah, it was a bit busy. And then Sunday, we went up to the mother-in-law's, celebrated my birthday another way, just with other family, and came home.
Gotcha.
Monday, I played golf. That was actually super interesting because it was 7 out of the 9 holes were in the pouring down rain. It was insane. And the funniest thing is I was wearing this hoodie. It was from the Gorillaz new album, The Mountain. It's got to be
Okay.
the best quality hoodie I've ever owned. It is durable winter hoodie. I highly recommend it. Just don't play golf in the rain with it. Because if you ever saw Dragon Ball Z, it's like when Piccolo takes off all his gear and when he's entered serious mode and he takes it off and it just hits the ground and you're a thud. Dude, I took this hoodie off, it weighed 125 pounds. Like I was like, what the hell? I was like, this is so heavy. Um, but that was fun. And I just reconnecting with those certain sports kind of like revamped me to get more work done because I'm actually fighting to have time off now. Uh,
Gotcha.
you see what I'm saying? My mindset's kind of changing the more I engage with the sports I love. Winter really sucks up here because I'm not a winter sports person.
Yeah. See, we don't have that winterish problem like you guys. Snow. We just have cold. So,
Fair
but
enough.
we
I
did have
mean,
ice this past year, so there's that. Like there was ice in
no
lots
snow
of
though.
places.
No
No,
snow.
there might have been like a little flurry, but like not because we didn't have any rain. But like you could see people's lawns were like covered in icicles because of
Ooh,
course they have their overnight sprinklers going, and then we're talking like it was 20 degrees here, ice. It was
yeah.
awesome.
I
I have some of those videos on my TikTok
fair enough.
because I worked that day, so I drove around just like taking pictures of like ice everywhere.
I Jeez. Nah, dude. It was a good weekend. I think it was a good week. I feel very productive. Lots of balance the more I try to navigate these waters I'm in. Uh, but yeah, dude, I think I'm ready to get into everything else. I'm super excited for what you brought to the table this week for
So am I.
ETC. I bet
So am I.
when you look back, dude, this is going to be awesome because this is the first time we all get to see what the potential is behind it that you've been working on for how long has it been? Actively,
Uh,
it's been a month, right? Or a couple weeks.
Actively, it's been about since we started the podcast, so at least
Yeah.
2 to 3 months
Oh, it's
of like
true.
me actually sitting down, um, doing work on ETC. Like, but overall, in the last 3 weeks, like really sitting down and hammering it out.
I mean,
So,
super excited.
which gets us talking to like what did we actually commit to doing last week? So,
Hmm.
like for myself, it was trying to make sure that I got sprint 2 done. Um,
If you
I
just
think
had to
yeah,
rough
it
out
was
the
yeah,
cards,
just
so to speak. Yeah.
rough out the cards basically for each team member. That was my goal for last week. How about you? What did you commit to again last week?
Just showing up, dude. That's all I want to do right now. I just want to show up and achieve this 60-day challenge. Um, the one thing I did do that was different than last week is I took an extra day off this week. And
Okay.
I kind of didn't beat myself up. And when we get into the show and tell, hopefully you'll see why I didn't beat myself up. Because I feel like I did a lot. So, nothing else
So
but to get into it, huh?
then with that, we move on to our reality check, my dude.
Bingo bongo.
Let me put it to you this way, sir. Did you feel like you had a productive week? And if so, what went right for you?
Oh, absolutely. Number one, it was a super productive week. Uh, Trying to think of without giving too much away because I can't wait to like show and tell, but out of I think I was tracking my progress. I was off in my numbers for a couple for the last 2 weeks, but I think the number is roughly 108 pages. And out of that 108 pages in 2 weeks, um, I have roughed out 92 pages, which
Not
is
bad.
crazy, dude. It's crazy because I think I also identified that what I'm doing is technically thumbnailing. And thumbnailing is allowing me to see both the picture and the story as I see it in my brain right now. So I feel very like when I set out to do this challenge, I gave myself 5 weeks to get 5 stories done. Dude,
Gotcha.
I just started week 3 today, and I have one story left. And it's roughly, I think, out of that story to complete all this, I said 92 pages. What is that, like 16? No, that's more. My math is off, but you get it. It's
Yeah.
less than 20 pages. Yeah, I feel very productive. I do dread a bit though. So in the future, I fear that I'm gonna have problems because I won't understand how to solve them in the moment. But as long as I keep this flow state up, I think I'll be super productive. If I keep chasing what gives me the best outcome to just be with my art and story. Because I think that's important as an artist to live with. You can't just create these things and send them off. You have to kind of live with them for a minute. Um, so yeah, super productive. I didn't have any pitfalls other than I took an extra day off because it was after my birthday. I actually took my birthday off and then I took Saturday off. So that's why I can't remember
Listen,
Saturday. I played games all day.
hey, listen, it is what it is. Like I get it. Because that's kind of you gotta take the breaks. So because otherwise you'll start to feel the burnout,
Yep.
and that becomes a big issue because then that burnout leads to more consecutive days of you just not wanting to be productive.
Yep, and I think that every now and again, when you need to take an extra day off, you deserve that. No matter what your endeavor is or your business, you deserve an extra day off if you can identify it. If you're taking it off because you just feel overwhelmed, go for it. You don't need to say that I need a day off. You can just take it off. There
Yeah.
doesn't need to be boundaries around it. Doesn't need to be this thing that you kind of, ew, I don't want to do that. Mm.
Yeah, it's the one thing I hate about the corporate world is it's like, oh, why are you taking a day off? Bitch, because I need it.
Well, that's how I looked at it. Like, even when I took that extra day off, dude, it wasn't anything. I don't think I had 92 pages. I probably had 10 extra than I had the previous week. So there wasn't a lot of progress. But after those 2 days off, came back recharged, knocked out up to 92. So I'm good. Um, how about you though?
So
How'd it go for you?
honestly, it was an awesome week in the as far as like studio stuff goes because we got a lot of week one's stuff done. Which meant that I didn't touch a lot of week two stuff. I kind of glanced at it and like I'm like, because I did some Q&A stuff with Alex. Like we got on a phone call, we had a conversation, and I would test it on my end. And I'd say, okay, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. So he would go back and he'd fix it, and then he'd push the updates to me. So we kind of did a lot of Q&A this week. Which is actually what I'm supposed to be doing later today, hopefully, is going through the Q&A tabs, which you guys will see, and working on those as well. Just so I can, because I saw bugs this morning when I was playing the game, like, oh, I noticed this bug, and this bug. So I gotta make sure I send those to him. But overall,
Yeah.
it was a good productive week for week one's material stuff. Where I feel like we're ahead of schedule, but there is one key thing that I'm worried about, and that is scope creep. I noticed that
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that we're doing that they're not necessary just yet, but we're excited because like here you have a loop, and then you have your death loop, and then you have these other things, and then we're like, oh, we can add this, we can add that, we can add this. So that scope creep starts to like come up on you, and yeah. So
I hate that. I hate
I
scope
gotta
creep. Sorry.
yeah, I
It
gotta
just
dial it back a little bit. I noticed because I noticed it today while I was looking at it. I'm like, there's some things that we did that we really don't need, and I'm worried that it might put us in a burnout phase because we've added too much. So I want to dial that back a little bit and just go like, let's just focus on this. Like these
the
things are awesome, and it makes me feel really excited about the game, but it could be a little too much.
so
So
in order to avoid scope creep in a game setting, the one thing that I learned very thoroughly through game design, and I think that it's very important to apply that knowledge to every creative endeavor because the approach to game design is very, it actually,
meticulous.
yeah, but it protects itself from burnout if you do it correctly. So,
That's the
like,
thing. Yeah.
for example, when you're dealing with scope creep, I say don't let it happen. And one of the positive ways to use scope creep is it's your brain telling you there's alarm systems. There's, hey, this isn't working. We need to fix it now. What you need to do is create an extra card wherever you're taking notes and put down, I want this, that, this figured out. And then that doesn't become a scope creep anymore. It becomes kind of a want list that you can marinate while you go through your steps. And when you get to that, when you finally can pick up that marinating card, you can solve if that scope creep at
That
that
issue,
moment.
yeah.
Yeah. But that's how
So
I avoid scope creep when I try to do games. And honestly, that same mentality can be applied to art and writing is if you have a prototype first, that's what we all build for. You want to build
yeah,
for the prototype and then it's about
prototype,
fine line.
rough draft, yeah, that step. So which is what we're in now. We're in our prototype slash rough draft.
Mm.
We're ahead of schedule, which is really freaking awesome, and I'm cool with that. I just want to make sure that we don't put too much on our plate.
Keep a
So
card. I
that's
think you
yeah,
guys are gonna be good. I think hey Alex, if you're listening to this, keep a scope.
yeah, which that's what we got to work on
Yeah,
because
keep
like
a
it's
scope
awesome. Like
creep
it's
card.
super awesome to see. Like again, I'll show you guys too. We have stuff and it's really cool. And there was some stuff that I didn't have for week one. It's there though. It works. We've tested it. So
I mean, are you ready
that
to get
being
into
said,
it?
am I what now?
What's next on our list, huh? Huh? You want to say it?
What's next on our list is we go to show and tell, buddy. We
What?
put our money where our mouth is.
Oh my God! I hope you got a big mouth or big pockets. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that, but that works.
Listen, I get it. But something that was not on our week one sprint was a main menu system or just the main menu screen, but it's there and it works with controller, by the way. That's the cool thing. Something else that we have here that was not on our week one was our cadet selection screen. That's there. It's a little buggy. That part doesn't work with a controller, but it works. Like you can pick between the two cadets and you can play the game. And it's all just what do we call that? It's programmer UI, not final UI. So that's why it's going to look the way that it looks. That'll be my job in the next few weeks is to go in and do the UI work. That's kind of my specialty is doing UI. I did that for our Cliff Climber game. I did the UI for Cliff Climber. And with that being said, we move on to the game. We've got a placeholder ship, some collectibles that work, enemies that shoot, high score, health shield. And what else do we have? Oh, our collectibles. We don't have the mission checklist done yet, but it's in there for UI purposes just to look at it. So once I get our week 2 stuff situated, we'll have the mission checklist. That's it. That's it for me. Like these are the things that we've worked on. There's some stuff, like I said, which is why I was worried about a scope creep a little bit, is because things that we had that weren't necessarily in week 1, they're already done, and those were like week 3 items. So I get to spend a little more time, like taking my time and polishing those. But that's me. So how about you, bud?
Whew, that was
You bring it.
that's
You bring your
really.
stuff.
I did bring my stuff, but dude, just number one, you have proof of concept. How does that feel?
It feels awesome, dude. Like
I
it
mean,
feels awesome and it feels scary at the same time because like this is usually the step where I start to feel a little overwhelmed. Because like, okay, now we're getting into the thick of it, and I got to make sure that I don't get overwhelmed again.
so how are you? Are you mindfully navigating that this time around? Do you think?
I'm trying to stick to what's on the cards. That's gonna be the thing that I'm hoping I do is stick to what's on the cards.
All right, I think
So,
you're
but
killing it. The footage proves it, man. I think you're killing it. I really do. All right, so
your turn, buddy.
yeah, I'm nervous, but all right. So go ahead and
I
mute
know.
yourself, and I'll switch cameras. All right, let's see. Let's see. So the footage I do not have is my calendar. If you can see it right here, those are a lot of red marks. And if there is my neck, If there's an off day, I've only had 3 in 2 weeks, and this is the progress I've gotten out of 5 stories. I was able to do The Umbrella Girl. It is a 3-part short where it's about 5 pages and it's more of a cinematic comic is what I'm going for. I haven't nailed any art style yet. But here you can tell it is a story of a girl dealing with the loss of a grandmother. Now, this is middle-aged, or sorry, not middle-aged, middle school audience type book. So I wanted to explore that heavy of an emotion with a girl who has an active imagination and gets the power of a magic umbrella that allows her to go through worlds to deal with her grief until she realizes that it's within her the whole time to handle it. It is I hope it's a good story, and I can't wait to get into the next couple progresses I have to do with this. Because remember, this is the prototype phase. So the next story up that I have completed is The Later Shift. Now, this one was a bit of a personal favorite because it's about a secret underground organization that comes out to handle all your cryptids in a way. But then there's this later shift who deals with your ghost town clearing type monsters, and he goes against, I think I called it the Taizu, and it's this big devouring monster. He goes to war with it with a hoverboard and a jetpack, or no, sorry, a snowboard and a jetpack. Towards the end, they capture the beast. It's one of those silly stories that kind of just don't make a lot of sense other than to just be fun to tell. And that's really what I chase with that story. Um, that one's done 22 pages for each of the ones I've mentioned so far. The next one up is actually how I started my whole process. Out of the gate, when I sat down to do this 60-day challenge, I put this story first. It's Fridge Pals, and this is the start of Something Awesome issue. Basically, it's about a group of friends who live in a fictional city called Fridge City. They're fruit pals, by the way. They're all fruits and veggies. They're all friends. They all go to this middle school, and they accidentally get superpowers that, by design, also create a supervillain that they're not aware of, and that becomes their whole arc. Is they are superheroes of their own chaos. I really enjoyed this story, and I found it important to write it first, as I thought it was going to be the biggest hurdle for me to jump in this whole challenge. And I was super surprised that it was the fastest one to get out. And honestly, it's the most detailed I've done. I've depicted a lot of city structure in here. I gave this one a lot of time out of the gate. But once again, another 22 pages prototyped out. Here's the 4th story. And what was this one again? Oh, this one is Dr. Bixen Morrow. It is a story about procrastination. A has-been scientist of sorts accidentally creates a monster when he has procrastinated too long. And the monster kind of challenges him to overcome his procrastination. I thought it was a super fun story. I think you need silly stories to balance out some of the lessons. And that's a lesson about procrastination. And I thought it was kind of silly to put a monster into it. So here's what that work looks like when it's piled up. 4 books with the 5th one, which I didn't talk about. I only got 6 pages done. It's not worth showing here today. Next show and tell we'll have way more to show. But the Chaos Wrestling League has 6 out of the 22 pages done. So I have completed 92 out of 108 pages. Amazing.
That's good, man. That's really awesome stuff. I didn't expect that from you, like little short stories like that. That's pretty cool.
Dude, 5 of them. And the one thing I didn't talk about, and it's worth talking about, is I had a conversation with my daughter. I kind of want to save this conversation in the context of it for later because I have a thing I want to do with this book. There was a story that we had created together called the Dinonars. And as I was pushing a lot of headway in this book, I turned to her and I said, "Are you ready to write this?" And she would tell me, "Yes, yes." And then the wife pulled me aside and she goes, "Hey, I get the feeling that you're pushing her." And I said, "Really? I don't get that. I feel like I need to hold her accountable." So last night at dinner, I ended up sitting down with her and I said, "You need to be honest with me, and it's okay." I said, "Do you actually want to write this, or do you just want to see it done?" And she actually came clean and she goes, "I just want to see it done." She goes, "I really don't think I can do it." And I said, "Hey, that's fair." So I had already done my backup story. So I
Yeah.
think since I'm so far ahead, I think I'm gonna add that to my list to do is I'm gonna finish Dino Nars for her because it's something that's kind of needing to make this book. Because
Okay.
I have a statement to say at the end of my book, and I think that it'll help people understand things. And yeah, that's all I want to say.
Makes
But
sense.
I'm super proud.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah.
So, as we wrap up our show and tell, and we show you guys again, hey, here's a little bit of proof that we're getting our shit done. We're
It feels
gonna move
amazing.
along. Yeah, it feels awesome. So, but again, I know that there are things that we need to adjust. So let's talk about that. Uh, I know that I have to make adjustments, and that's what we're going to be talking about here in a moment. But is there anything that you need to adjust for yourself moving forward?
Oh, that was a great volley to go, psych, I'm gonna go first, but you're gonna go first. You son of a bitch. That was so nice. Uh, you son of a bitch. I can't. Good volley, sir.
Good.
I
I'm glad you like it. Now
think
spike it, buddy.
I think that honestly there is no adjustments. I just want to keep showing up to make progress. I do need to kind of set out a plan for the next couple weeks as I come into like finishing the prototype phase.
Gotcha.
I need to make sure that my repurpose phase has got more of a finite plan, so I'm not letting scope creep or anything else happen. And that's a great word to bring up because it happens in every endeavor. I really do appreciate that of this episode. What about you? Volleyed right back to your ass. Not as intelligent
Listen,
as you did to me, but hey, you got it back, sir. Any
listen,
adjustments you want to
buddy.
make?
That's the adjustment that I do need to make is the scope creep because while we did get some awesome stuff done for this show and tell, not just for show and tell, but for ETC in general,
Yeah.
I'm I'm worried that by piling on the extra things that weren't part of that week one sprint, we could cause ourselves to creep out of our sprints, not just the sprints, but the production that we're supposed to be focused on. So that way we have a game. Um, like it's awesome, but I want to make sure that I keep the alignment because that was the problem that I had with Adelaide is it was too much scope creep. It got too big way too fast. So I had to dial a lot of that back. And I'm learning how to do that with a much smaller title um, to keep us within a certain parameter and go like, oh, well, this system is awesome and we really need it. But is it necessary right now? That's the adjustment that I need to make sure that we keep on. And I also need to make sure that I still have that bad habit of like doom scrolling before I sit down and work. But it went from 2 hours to about an hour. So like that's the big adjustment there. But
So
I want to try to get it down to like maybe 15 minutes of doom scrolling and then I get on here and I work or even less.
So what if
So
you just retrain your doom scrolling? What if you just so that's something I often do is I retrain my algorithm. So if I think I'm getting too caught up in doom scrolling, I actually unconsciously change my algorithm and slow down my pace. And then like I'll start watching educational stuff versus dumb stuff. Or
true.
other stuff. Yeah,
A little
but
hard to do on TikTok on that For You page because it's just random crap that pops
yeah.
up. But yeah, but I like listening to some of the music that pops up on there. So like I'll listen to it. Like this has a really like it's been a lot of neoclassical I don't even remember like metal, I think is what they
Okay.
called it, neoclassical metal, which is pretty cool. I'm like, that's cool. I like that. So, but
That
yes,
works.
my biggest adjustment is the doom scrolling thing and making sure that we don't scope creep. Like, because again, it happened at Adelaide and it was a big issue, and I'm gonna make sure that we don't do it this time around. But yeah, other than
Alright.
that, man, like I said, I'm super stoked. And that's the other thing that you have to be very careful with is like you see all this progress and you get really excited and you have to make sure that that excitement, it's awesome, but too much of it can also lead you to burnout too. Because like you're like, I didn't have as much as last week, and you start to stress out about
Oh, yeah.
everything. But yeah.
Yeah,
So
you start to compare and go, "Oh, I didn't have a good week as this." No, if you showed up and did your project, you had a good week. Don't.
progress is progress, and that's the thing I got to teach my brain. Progress is
Yep.
progress, man.
So, with all
So,
that being said, do we know what next week's commitment is?
so speaking of next week's commitment, I'll go first this time, so I'm not volleying it to you, buddy.
Let's hope so.
I really, really, really need to get week two's sprints in order, because a lot of week one stuff is already on QA. And here we are, we're what, 4 or 5 days away from June 1st, which is when I said I wanted to have production going, to build the demo. We're ahead of schedule, which is awesome, but I
Super
want to make
awesome.
sure that we keep that pace. So I got to do my job, get my sprints situated. So I'm going to make sure that week two is done completely. That's my goal this week. And then I get some of the QA stuff done for ETC as well, because it's my job this week to do the QA stuff. And then,
Knowing them.
if possible, start week three. Like just get week three's folders aligned. That's my goal. How about you, man?
I think mine's just simple. It's not so it is keep showing up each day. I think I want to keep to 1 day off this week. And I think the main goal for this week is beyond showing up. It's going to be I want to finish my prototype this week. I think that I'm really close and I have less than 20 pages. If I can finish my prototype, say by tomorrow or the next day, I might add an extra story in there. So
Okay.
that's kind of what I'm fighting for. I want to add this extra story. Um, One thing I do want to talk about that I forgot up until this point is I don't know if this is the perfect spot to talk about it, but one of the things I did for my productivity at one point was yesterday. I was down not where I wanted to be. So what I did was I decided to trick my brain a little bit, and I told myself that today was my due date for whatever I was doing, and I was gonna trick my brain that it was 11:59, and that's what I did.
Okay.
I told myself, "Hey, it's
Yeah.
11:59. I have a due date, dude." I cranked out 20, 30 pages. Like I cranked out a lot just yesterday by tricking my brain into that. I have no real set time other than 5 weeks to get the first
Yeah.
5 stories. So every now and again, I think you have to trick your brain to get a little win. So
You do. You do. You definitely do.
so
Like
I
it's
say
it's
when you approach doing these tasks this week, you try to shorten them by giving yourself like a tomorrow I'm gonna have this done. This is my 11:59. This is my deadline tomorrow. I'm gonna have 7 cards done or whatever. See if that works. Trick your brain a
yeah,
little.
I get the tricking the brain thing, because that's what I'm doing here with the polish and the fingernails. Is I'm trying to trick my brain into not biting my fingernails off. So
That's fair.
that's listen, it works every time I've done it, and I've painted my fingernails black with this hardened polish. Like I don't bite my nails and actually have fingernails. So I got to go back to that. So that's another thing I'm doing.
So mine are actually not bad today, but one of the things I do is when I'm bored, I pick really bad. I
Yep.
pick and I bite. So I actually found that drawing and having like a book on hand to always jot down ideas or something. Birthday gift from my mother-in-law. It was amazing, by the way. Uh,
Nice.
it allows me to kind of get rid of doing that. So
That's cool.
that's
Yeah, not
everything,
me. I
man.
have to do this. It's a psychological thing for me, because otherwise I get bored, and that's the first thing I go to is I start chewing.
Yep.
So I hear you. I hear you.
So that's it, huh? We're ready for the.
That, that's it for us, man. We're done.
Woo! We
It was an
cooking.
awesome
We've been
awesome
cooking.
week, and I'm glad that I've been holding on to that stuff and like hiding it in the background, because I've been wanting to talk about it for a while, especially like the progress we've done with ETC. So
Oh
and
yeah.
thank you, Alex, because he's been kicking ass on that part. So kudos to you, sir.
Alex,
Kudos.
Alex, you're the man. You're the man. Really are, dude. So with that, I bid you to have a good week, sir.
You as well.
All right, and we'll hit
And
the
we'll catch
outro.
up again
Yeah,
next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday we'll catch up. Well, you did it, and so did we. You made it to the end of a video that shows a lot of progress, and we ask you to do the same thing. Down in the comments below, share any progress. This is really the place to do it. We love to grow alongside with you, help change your mentality as you help change ours in our approach and our endeavors. From the bottom of our hearts, thank you very much. Make sure to follow both Armando and my company, or myself. Our links are down in the comments below. Really, thank you. And that's really it. We're having a fun time, and we want you to be a part of this fun time too. Until next week. There was this thing I used to say to my child: love, peace, and chicken grease.